How was the festival, Leela?
Yeah, good, sir. It was really good.
Mm. Okay. Hello, Waqas. Hello, Leela.
Sir,
Hey, Adil sir, good morning.
Good morning. How was the weekend? It was a long weekend, no? 3 days gap.
Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Almost you guys would have forgotten, I guess. Might have forgotten. Let's
Not
see.
really.
Okay. Others are joining or not? Not sure. So we'll start our today's session. I think they'll join. Um, just take a second. I'll open my slides and then. Let me share my screen. Okay. So is my screen visible, guys?
yes, sir.
Yes, we can see it.
Yeah. All right. So I think you guys remember this diagram, right? So
Correct.
yeah. So can anyone explain the architecture flow? Not in between. I want the complete architecture flow. How this network comes, where it goes. Leela, Waqas, Mumtaz.
Sir, actually, we have created, VPC on the AWS, and
What is VPC and why do we need it?
sir, actually, VPC looks like, I mean, because every customer, every customers have a different VPCs and AWS cloud computing. And the thing is, VPCs looks like a boundary. It will, use it to distinguish between the different customers, because customer A and customer B, they will not interfere with each other. We have a logical boundary for our entire network. So all the resources we have placed in, inside the VPC. So to easily manage and identify our own VPC, the first thing. Second thing is, inside the VPC, we might have a, different things like public subnet, private subnet, and public subnet is publicly exposed and private subnet is not publicly exposed because of the security reason and other things. And also we have some more things like security groups in place, and gateway, network gateway is in place, and
Network gateway.
yes, sir. Internet
Internet gateway.
gateway.
Internet gateway.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct. Okay, okay. All right. Waqas, can you explain the data flow, how it goes?
So when someone try to access the resources in within the VPC, it
Right?
always comes to the internet gateway. From internet gateway, target to the routing. I forgot the whole part of the routing. What is called? Is it routing, right? The first one.
Yeah, so from the internet gateway, it comes to your route table,
Correct.
right? So route
Yes.
table will
So
decide
from
where it has to send. Whether, yeah,
yes.
go on.
So the routing will decide which, if it's going
Hmm,
to the public or if
hmm,
it's going through the private.
hmm.
And then from the routing, it going back to the internet gateway and going outside the request.
Yeah, from route table where it goes.
From route table, it goes to the public if it's for the public subnet, and if it's for the private, then it will go traverse to the private subnet after security check, I guess.
Yeah, okay, correct. So Waqas and Leela, correct answer. You both have given the right answer. So yeah, VPC is a virtual private cloud wherein we can run our all our resources inside of VPCs. Each companies, right? They'll create a first their own private boundary, right? So inside that they will put their all the resource and they'll give access to their users to this VPC. Okay, so any request coming, how it goes? So same like how I explained this hotel thing. So it comes, so how do the people come to the hotel? They have to come through the door, main door, right? So people will come here, main door. So this is your internet gateway. Okay, this is your main door internet gateway. And then after that, so may through if you don't attach internet gateway, nobody can come. Right, if you don't have door, how can the people come inside, right? So this is the every VPC should attach internet gateway. This is the must if you're connecting to internet. So in real time, people who wants to do, right, like develop testing team and development team, they when they don't want access to the internet, when they are doing only internal work, they'll not create internet gateway. They'll create their own VPCs, right? They'll connect VPC through VPC peering. That I'll take it in coming classes, right? So I'm just giving you example. Okay, internet gateway will only use whenever the outsider wants to connect your VPC. Okay, so then comes our route table. After that, we'll have a route table. Okay, we'll be having a public route table and the private route table. Right, so in the public route table, we need to give the configurations where it has to send. If the traffic coming from the internally, right, if this route table getting traffic, the request from internal, okay, inside VPC, where it has to send, right? Or if it's coming from internet gateway, where it has to send, like that will give some configuration. And then from route table, your data will go to your subnets. Before going to the subnets, if you want, you can enable NACL, right? Usually it is mandatory, right? So you have to enable NACL. This blue boundary is right. So this we have a NACL. So you guys know what is NACL? It is a virtual firewall to your subnets. Okay, so data will go through NACL. Only if it's allowed in NACL, then it will go to the subnet. And then inside subnet, you will be having your EC2 load balancers, auto scaling, wherever it is, it will go. And then from here, public subnet, again it goes back outside your NACL, and then it comes to your private subnet. So here you'll be having the main important resources like your databases, right? Very high most P1 data will be stored in your private subnet, right? So here it will be stored, and from here only they'll come and access and they'll take it back. Okay, so this is what I have explained, right? Till here, any doubt, guys? Now we're gonna do the demo. That's why.
We are clear with this, sir.
Clear, right?
Yes.
Darshan.
Yeah,
Darshan.
clear.
Yeah, right. So now I'm gonna create demo exactly in the same way. Okay. Just follow my steps. Okay. If you guys have connected through laptop, you can also launch through your laptop. Okay. All right. So let's get into demo, guys. Okay, log into the console and go to your VPC section. So, okay. So if you when you're logging in for the first time, this is what you can see. This is your default one. Okay. This is your default VPC, which what do you mean by default VPC means every region. Okay. If you see, we have regions, right? North Virginia, California, Oregon, Singapore, Sydney, Tokyo, Central, Frank. So all this region will have one default VPC. Okay. So in real time, we should never use this default VPC. Okay, only for the practice purpose, right? So in load balancer, EC2 have launched, right? So all those things have launched in default VPC. Okay. So in the company, okay, in real time, they'll create their own VPC. All right, so now we're gonna create our VPC for my Travelex company. Okay, So let's say if TravelX is your project, okay, so that project is coming to cloud. The first thing you're gonna, if they ask you to create a cloud for the TravelX, you have to create like this. All right, so we're gonna create our VPC. Okay, so once you click on VPC, you have two options: VPC only or VPC more. Okay, so this thing, as I told you, this diagram, right? This, it follows this diagram. Well, first you have to create VPC, and then subnets, and then route tables, right? And then network connections. Okay. So just to explain you guys, I'll go step by step. So first I'll create VPC. So what is my project name? I'll give it as TravelX VPC. Okay, so here I need to give my CIDR range, right? So you should always make sure that guys, always remember, if you see here, this is your VPC and this is your subnets, right? So subnets are subset of your VPC, right? So your VPC should have more IPs and your subnets IP should fall under your VPC. That's how you should follow it. Okay. So now I'll just give 10.0.0/16. So /16 means how many IPs I'll get?
Sir, 2 to the power of 16.
Yeah. So we'll get more IPs. Okay. Now create VPC. All right, guys. So one important thing you need to observe here is whenever you create a VPC, three main thing will be created along with VPC. If you see here, these three are blue marks. Okay, what are those? One is NACL, one is route table, and one is DHCP option set. Okay, these three. Okay, it will also, whenever you create VPC, these three will automatically create it. All right. So remember this. Okay, if they ask in interview when you create VPC, what are the other things you will also get? So these are the three things. Okay, if you want, you can go and configure this. Yeah, so right now, just leave it. Now, if you go to your VPCs, see, this is one default. I'll give it name. Okay, this is your default VPC. This is your TravelX. This is what I have created. If you see my CIDR range /16. So inside VPC, I have lot of IPs I can use, starting with 10.0.0.0, right? So starting with here, I can use an n number of, I mean, you guys know the number, right? That number of IPs I can use. Okay. So now I have created my boundary. I've created my boundary. Right. So what is the next step? What should I create
Is it
next?
route tables?
The first, after the VPC, the immediate thing you need to create is the subnets. Okay. So yeah, for that we need to go and create. If you see, there's already 3 subnets here. Why? Why is it? What are these 3?
Sir, you mean default VPC?
Yeah,
Subnets default.
yeah. These 3 subnets belong to your default VPC. Why there's 3 here? Why can't it be 4? Why can't it be 6? Why can't it be 1?
That's
I
because
think
of
it's
the availability zone.
zone.
Exactly, correct. Very good. That's the right answer. All right. So for this Mumbai, we have 3 availability zone. That's why they have 3 subnets. So subnets is nothing but your availability zone, guys. Don't get confused. Now we're gonna create, as per this diagram, public subnet and private subnet. We're gonna go and quickly create subnet, select VPC or TravelX VPC. Here I'm gonna give public subnet. Okay. Zone, I'm gonna give, if you see, I have only 3 zones. Okay, along I have to use only these 3. 1A, right? And then 10.0.1.0/ you have to be very careful, guys. Giving this CIDR range, it should never overlap. If it's overlapping, it will not allow you to create only. Okay, so public subnet is ready, and then private subnet. Okay, availability zone 1B I'm selecting. So 10.0.2.0/24. All right. Did you guys observe here? So I'm giving CADR block 10.0.1.0/24. So /24 means what? It is lesser than your /16, right? Are you able to get it? If you want, I'll show it to you again.
Yeah. It's only 256 IPs on it rather than 65,000.
Exactly. So first VPC I have given, guys. So how much I've given? 16. So that means if you give 16, so I will have 65,536 IPs. So I can use this much IPs in my VPC. That's what I explained. Now I have given. So inside this, I'm going to give for public. Okay, 256 I am giving. All right. So for public, I'm giving 256, and again for private 2.0. For private 256 I'm giving. If you see, these are inside your VPCs, right? Subset of VPC. This is very important topic, guys. Okay, even though they don't ask in interview, but when you guys are doing in real time, you should be knowing it. All right. So one important thing is here, please remember, out of this 256 is there, no? 256 IPs, we will not get the 5 IPs. We will get only 251. So no matter how much ever you take, okay, even if you take 16, so in this 536 is there, we'll get 531. Okay, so why like that? Because the last 5 IPs will be blocked by our AWS. They'll use it. All right, so clear here. As per this diagram, I've created a
Yes.
VPC. Now I've created public subnet, private subnet. Cool. Let's go and launch this. Okay, no issue. If you guys have done error, it will show error there. Okay. Yeah. So now my public, private subnet both are ready. This is there, public subnet, private subnet. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to create a door, right? We need to allow users to come inside. That's what we need to create. Internet gateway. Okay, just go in here, internet gateway. I've already created my Travelex IGV long back. So this simply it is there. I mean, it has not attached to any VPC. Now I'll just go and attach it. If you guys want, you can go and click internet gateway. It's just a single step. Okay, now I'm gonna attach to VPC. This is my Travelex VPC. All right. See how simple is that, right? So now you have put the door to your VPC, right? So now I put the internet gateway. The name is Travelex IGW. Okay. So here you don't have to do anything. Now you guys have created VPC. You guys have created subnets. Okay. You guys have created subnets and you have created door. So now here you need to create a route tables. Okay. So because in the starting you create route tables where you should give, right? You should give the direction, you should give the source and destination. That's why we'll create route table at last. So now we can give route table source and destination both. Are you guys following? Any doubt?
No, sir.
No.
Yeah,
Good.
it is.
All right. Okay. So again, why do I have to route table here?
Sir, one is because of the default, the routing table of default VPC.
Yes.
Travelex.
Yeah. So as I told you, along when we create VPC, along with VPC, 3 important thing will come along with that: NACL, route table, and DHCP option set. So this route table is your default, and this is my Travelex VPC. We'll just name it default route table. All right. So now
Is it allowed to provide communication between private and public segments?
private and public subnets.
Yeah. Suppose I
Yeah.
have 2 instances, one is in public and one is in private. How do you provide a communication?
Yeah. So if let's say if you are EC2 resources in public, right, and you're taking database there is in private, you have
Ah.
to talk to your private, right? So what we'll do, we'll have something called NAT gateway. Using
Okay.
NAT gateway, we'll talk. Okay, that is coming in today's class. I'm
Okay.
going to touch that only. Now, first I'm showing how to launch these things. If you guys are good with this, then I'll go one layer down. I'll explain you that. That is there in today's topic. Okay, all right. So where are we? We are in the route tables. So here in this route table, okay, this route table has come up with our default the VPC which we have created. Now, what we're gonna do, this route table, we're gonna do it as a public route table. How do you make this route table as a public? Okay, it's nothing, guys. How do you make this route table public and private is only thing you're gonna go and attach your internet gateway. Just click on route tables, edit routes, add route. You're just saying any traffic, okay, 00, it should come through this your internet gateway, right? That's it, very simple. Now your route table is this route table is your public route table. Why? Because it has internet gateway attached, IGW. So if you see whenever you log in to your company's AWS account, right? If you are working in AWS, just go and see, right? Log in and just check your VPCs or route table. So whichever route tables has this IGW, that means it is the public route table and it has internet coming. All right. So this is our public route table. Make it up now. Same way, we're gonna have to create private route table. Okay, so in the same public route table, you cannot make another route, because the route table cannot do that. Okay, since you have internet gateway in this route table, so all the traffic will be sending to that particular internet gateway, from coming to internet gateway to particular subnet. So for private, you need to create another one. It's very simple. Just click on create route table. Private route table, select VPC. Okay, that's it. So here in the routes, you need to go and edit your routes. So here in the private route, right? Okay, right. So here here we don't have to do anything. Why? Because as you guys know, your public route table will talk to your internet gateway. It has to talk to your all the connections coming from outside, and then it has to send to your. So this private route table, it doesn't have to talk to internet gateway, right? It is only for internal purpose. So by default, this route is already there. If you see here, what is this IP range? This belongs to your VPC. This belongs to this VPC. Okay, so by default it is already there. We have VPCs see it here. So this is for internal purpose. Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yeah, sorry, there's a
Your
power
screen was
outage.
disappeared
Yeah,
somewhere.
yeah. I'll share it again. Yeah, guys, so now I've created the boundary, the subnets, the route table, and now if you see, I have created just a public subnet, private only by the name. How actually you make differentiation, right? How do you make subnets as a public and private subnet is through your route table. So whichever subnet is attached to your public route table, that subnet we call it as public subnet. Same way, whichever route table attached to your private route table, that subnet we call it as private subnet. Then only we call that subnet as a public subnet and private. How do we do it? Same way, just go to your route tables. I told you right in the initial class, route tables are very important. All your sending traffic and all you'll be doing through your route tables itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I have to make our public, yeah. So go to click on public route table. Here we have subnet association. Okay, click on subnet association. So here you're just telling route table, okay, route table, I'm going to attach you that subnet. Okay, so all your internet traffic where you're coming, send it to that subnet. That's it. You're only telling to route table, whatever the traffic coming from internet, send it to this subnet. That's it. Edit subnet association. You have two. We're gonna select only public. Clear? Same way we have to do it the other side. Okay. So in the private route table also, you don't have any subnet association. So click on edit subnet association and here I'm gonna create proper. All right, so now your subnet, public subnet is actually your public subnet and private subnet is actual private subnet. Means your private subnet doesn't have, you know, this your private subnet is connected to this private route table. This will use it only for your internal communication. But if you see this public subnet, right? So this has internet connection. How? Using route table. If you see this public subnet has connected to the route table which has internet connection. That's why we call this as public. Wherever if you see this private, go to the route table, you don't have internet. Is it clear, guys? I
Yeah.
don't. So first time, I think you might get confused, but once you start following my steps, it is very easy to. So this they will this is a must ask question in interview. I think you guys will already be knowing, right? So this is what we call it as a architecture in AWS.
So for private subnets, we still need to create a private route table for internal communication.
Yeah, for
Otherwise,
internal.
it won't work.
Yeah, because the default route table we have used it for public, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So for private, we need to create a private route table. So any doubt here? Others?
So
Leela?
see, these subnets won't communicate without the route table, right? Itself?
No. How, like, how will they get a request? Now, same like, let's say you consider this your hotel. If this is your
Correct.
hotel, so here is your chef. So how will the
Okay.
chef will prepare the food? He should get some
Correct.
request from outside, right?
Yes.
So this is your private subnet. So this private subnet should get request from anything. Okay, so if you get request from either your private route table, right? So now we have done it for private driver. So in Darshan case, what he has, so how did this public and private can talk? How they
Yeah.
both can talk? That I'll come. Okay, before that, any
Okay.
doubt here in this session?
All good. Thank you.
Sivraman, Darshan, I can't hear you.
How about the private to private communication between the two segments?
Hello.
Am I audible?
No, you're not.
How about the private to private communication between two segments?
You're asking others. Can you hear Darshan's question? Can anyone?
Yes, volume is very low.
No, sir. Volume is slow.
Darshan, we can't hear you.
What he asking is how other private subnets like how it will communicate.
So he's asking private subnet to private subnet.
Yes.
So if you have multiple subnets, okay, so it's through your private route table. So all these private subnets, if you have multiple private subnets, we will send all this, right? We will configure to send all the traffic to your private route table. So from here, you can talk to your other private subnets. That is not an issue. Okay. So only thing the challenges comes here is, okay. So the challenge comes here is now you have your private subnet, and you're in the private subnet, you guys will keep your main very important resources like your databases, right? Your Amazon S3 bucket, your RDS database, your important EC2, critical EC2s like HPC. These all will be running in private subnet. So there comes a time, okay? There comes a time wherein just a second. So there comes a time wherein these services are there, no? Like your database, your public EC2. These services want to send traffic to outside your end user. Okay, if they want to, install some update, like if they want to do, so they want to send traffic to your end user. Remember? Okay, remember this point, guys. So if they want to send, okay, the resources which is running in your private subnet, okay, the resources which is running in your private subnet. So these resources, if they want to talk to your end user, right? Talk means, okay, they want to send data to your end user. So then in this scenario, we'll introduce one of the new service. So that service, we call it as NAT gateway. So what AWS is doing, do you guys remember in one of my session I have told AWS will always follow what? What is the main motive of AWS? Correct, very good. Yeah, so defense in depth. So it should follow layer by layer by layer by same method they're following. So now if your database, your this thing important resources in private subnet wants to talk to internet, you have to install NAT gateway. Okay, so how to install, where do you install? It's very simple. So always remember, we'll install NAT gateway in public subnet. Okay, so we'll install NAT gateway. So only NAT gateway will talk to your private resource. How it will talk directly? It will not talk. It will talk to through your route table, private route table. So here the NAT gateway will send request to the private route table, right? And private route table it will send. So these are very, you think you treat them as a very VIP guys, very special, very important persons here. So they will not directly talk to anyone. If they want to send any traffic to outside people, right? First it will send to your private route table. So here we'll configure it to send it to the NAT gateway, right? And send from NAT gateway, the traffic goes to your route table and then it goes to your end user. Remember, this traffic is not bidirectional, it is a single direction. That means only your resources which is running here in a private subnet, right? Only they can send traffic to users, but end users cannot send traffic. They cannot directly talk to. Same way your hotel guys, I told you, right? What chef will do? Chef will prepare the food. He will give this food to the waiter. Will the chef comes and give to the customer? Have you seen anywhere? No, right? Same methodology, same thing. So here chef will prepare the food. He'll give it to the waiter. So here in the waiter is route table, right? So from the route table through NAT gateway, here we have two waiters, NAT gateway and route table. Only NAT gateway will send traffic outside. Okay, this I'll show you now.
That means outbound traffic, inbound traffic will not be by using NAT gateway.
But Sri Raman, I didn't.
That means outbound traffic from private gateway is allowed. Sorry, private subnet is allowed.
Huh.
But we are not able to reach inbound through NAT gateway.
Huh. So outbound traffic, right, to end users. So if end users wants to get the important update from database, right, or important anything, only they can send outbound traffic. Inbound traffic to your private is not allowed. Okay, so how do we talk inbound? That I will tell you. I'll tell you. Okay, and I'll explain. Now, if I say it will be overwhelming, first I'll show you guys in the demo. Right. So what all we have done now? We have created VPC, we have created internet gateway, we have created route tables, right? So we have created subnets, public subnet, private subnet. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna launch resources. So now I'm gonna launch one EC2 in public subnet, one EC2 in private subnet. Right, guys?
Yes. So for the NAT IP, the IP will be from the same subnet, or it will be different IP other than the subnets.
For NAT IP,
Yeah, the traffic that will get netted to.
I'll show you now. It will be clear.
Okay.
Okay, I'll show you now. So guys, so now we'll go step by step, and then it will be very clear. Please focus. If you guys don't focus, it will be very confusing. If you focus, it is very easy. All right, so go to the instance. What I'm gonna do, I'll just quickly launch instance. I'm gonna give this as public. All right, so here, when you are launching your instance in your own VPC, so here when you come to the network settings, you click on edit. Now here I'm gonna select my VPC, or else it will go to the default one. Again here I need to select public. So guys, in real time, naming will not be like this: private subnet, public subnet. Only for your reference, I have given this. Right, in real time, they'll just go based on IPs. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this resource in public subnet. Right, so I'm gonna create EC2 in this public subnet. That's what I'm doing. Create a public EC2. I put it in my public subnet. That's it. Okay, just click on select existing groups. Right, and then launch instance. Shit, I don't know. I've given the auto assign.
You have given auto assign, IP.
Did I give
Yes, you have, it is automatically selected.
auto? I think it was disabled. Why this test is running? Auto? Just a second, please. Oh shit! Forgot to delete this. All right. So yeah, my public EC2. So public IPv4. See, guys, did you guys observe? So even if I launch a EC2 instance in the public subnet, I'm not getting public IP. What could be the reason?
You have selected private subnet or public subnet?
I've selected public subnet only. If you see subnets under the networking, I have selected public subnet only. I have private IP. But
You may select not auto assign, not public subnet.
yeah, yeah, correct. So the reason the main reason is, I'll show you now. So in the networking, I'm first, after I selected VPC, then I have selected public subnet. So here, if you see auto assign public IP, I've given disabled, so I have to enable it. So if you enable, automatically we'll get public IP from AWS, Amazon's pool of IP address.
Is it possible to assign IP after created the instance?
Yes, that's what you need to take elastic IPs.
Okay, fine.
Elastic IPs, public IPs you will not get. So usually some project they might be requiring elastic IP, so that's why they've given option to enable or disable. All right, guys. Now I'll get my public IP, public EC2. Just wait for a second. So here, right? It's running now. If you see this instance, see it has public IP.
Can I
Public.
use my static private IP as static? Like I can design own IP is it possible? Like 10.0.1.7.5.
You can. Yeah, you can use it. It's not mandatory that you have to give which I have given. You can give your own. Just make sure it should not overlap with your VPCs.
So
Right.
how to change the IP address or create by using our own IP? Can you please explain, sir?
Which IPs? The private IPs?
Yes, private IP.
Private IPs, it will get decided when we are creating subnets. Or do you remember while creating subnet, I have given the CAD array?
Yes,
Then-
I am fine that I am asking about the IP assigned for that instance. It is default is assigning 10.0.1.1.
You want to change this IP address for this
change the
instance?
IP address or I can specify my own IP address like
No, you can't do it.
okay.
It will, you can't do that. That you can't do. So I'm talking about elastic IP. If you want, you can take and assign, right? Private IP, while creating subnets only, you can create your own private IP, whichever you want, right? You can create. But after creating now your EC2 instance launched, right? After launching, you cannot change it. It's a fixed one.
Sir, my query is like the VM IP is assigned to 174. Can we is it possible to specify that 100?
I cannot hear you properly. Your question. That's the main thing.
No, sir. Like VM, I have subnet. I am not worried about the subnet. Subnet is fine for us.
Huh?
When using this subnet, I have assigned dot IPS 174.
Huh?
Shall I get the IP address, manually specify the IP address as 100 when it is created? Is it possible?
No, I'm not getting your question. There's a lot of disturbance.
Okay. Okay, so we'll,
Yeah. You, whenever you're silent, just can anyone understood his question? Others? Can anyone explain it? Others have
No, it's the voice is too low.
voice is too
I'm
low.
not sure if it's mic.
Yeah. I mean, we are unable to hear your full question, Shivrama.
okay, so no issue. You can discuss after some time.
Yeah, we'll discuss sometime when you are okay. All right. So now what I have done, guys.
Sir.
Yeah.
Sir, I will be mute, sir, because I am rushing up to go office. I have an office at 1 o'clock. So I have to be, to make a preparation and other things. So I will be on mute, sir, for some time.
Okay. You
Okay,
can
sir.
watch the session, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Just
Yes.
focus or else it will be very difficult. No problem. Just focus the class.
Thanks.
All right. Yeah. All right. So now I have created a created one resource in public subnet. Same way I'm going to create in my private. We'll just quickly go and launch it. Just click on it. Actions. Major template launch more like this. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give the name, change the name. Private EC2. Okay, so here I'm only changing to private subnet. Rest all I'm leaving it default. Okay. So now we have public EC2 and private EC2, right? So now your resources, okay, so you are running one resources in public subnet and one resources in private subnet. Okay, so both we have given public IP. Let's say, so how it works. Let's see now how it works. First, we'll check the security groups. Okay, so if you see security group here, it is not defined properly. Okay, if you see inbound rule, there's no role properly. So we have to give the proper inbound rule. So first, let me give the SSH port 22 from anywhere. So from internet. Okay, so if you see, I'm allowing port 22 from internet, right? If any user wants to connect over port 22, they can do it. Okay, and also the other one is ICMP. I'll give. Okay, so now my public EC2 is there. I have public IP, private IP, everything is running. Let's do the connection there. Let's see whether this EC2 instance will connect or not. Okay, so this EC2 got connected. Now you can do whatever you want. You can launch your application, you can store your everything, whatever you want.
Aditya, can we connect the server from any other application? I mean, like Vault, other than the Amazon console. If we don't have a console access and we have a public IP, we can still be able to connect through some private applications.
Guys, can you guys see it here? Even though my EC2 instance, both EC2 instance, I'm allowing SSH. So security group is correct. So security group is allowing. If you see the private EC2, the security group, I'll show it to it. If you guys see here, port 22 is allowed both in private and public. Even then, you are able to connect your public EC2, right? You are able to connect your public EC2 through SSH, but you can't connect your private. Why?
Private IP not communicate access to public.
So why?
For
Private IP does not have
private
public
only
IP.
initiate traffic from one side,
So,
right? It
so
says
why?
okay.
Why? Because if you observe this diagram, I have put my public EC2 in public subnet. I put my private EC2 in private subnet. Clear? So now public EC2, I am accessing over the internet. If you see the inbound rule 0.0 over port 22. So what this public subnet has a route table which is connected to the internet gateway. So any request coming from internet gateway, right? It is coming through your route table, public route table, and it goes to the public subnet. So this subnet, so whichever resources in this subnet can talk to your internet. So one more instance I have placed in private subnet. This doesn't have connection to internet at all. How the connection happens? There is no way, right? There's no way of connecting to the internet at all. So now this EC2 instance is very secure. Okay.
Yep.
It's the highly secured one. Okay. So now you can put all your data, all your whatever you want. You can put the important data here. Only internal people can have access, not the outsider. This is the main like the difference in the public and private subnet, right? The route tables, internet gateway. This is the main, right? Any doubt till here?
So private
You guys
instance
saw
will
it.
only. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Wakas, go on. Yeah, go on.
Okay. So with the private subnet, the traffic will be symmetric, right? Only they can talk to outside, but from outside it won't be reachable. The private.
As of now, till now, private subnet can talk to only from your internal VPC.
Okay, from internet.
Outsiders cannot talk. Only for the inside VPC they can talk. Why? Because in route table we have not attached to any internet gateway.
But we
Only
can do
publics.
it if it's required to.
So that I'll show it now. So if this private subnet wants to talk to outsider, right? What we have to do? Then we have to introduce NAT gateway. So we have to install NAT gateway in public subnet, right? And then do some configuration route table. Then this private subnet will talk through your NAT gateway.
Can we install that NAT gateway in the internet gateway?
In internet
or it will
gateway?
be.
No, I'll show it.
Okay.
I'll show it now how to install it. So before that, is it clear? This first level should be clear, right? So for if let's say if we are constructing floors, ground floor should be, you guys should know, the ground floor should be very strong. The basic should be very strong. Then we'll go to our first floor.
Yeah.
So is this clear for others? Any doubt till here? Now we're gonna talk about NAT gateway. Darshan, Gajanan, Muntaz, Sriraman, for you it's
Yes,
clear,
sir.
I believe.
Sir, it is fine.
Yeah,
Yes, sir, yeah. We are not
Understand
able to
Horan.
access public because of the net gateway. When I will configure net gateway, then after we are able to access internet.
It is not bidirectional, it is a single direction. Okay, once we put the NAT gateway, so it doesn't mean, okay, we can send traffic, we can receive traffic. No, you cannot receive traffic. It's only single direction.
Okay,
Always
that's what
remember
my
it.
point was earlier.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so it's a single direction. So if your database, if your EC2 is a private subnet, they can only send one-way traffic to outsiders. Outsiders cannot send. Okay, so now I'll show you how to launch NAT gateway. Okay, so one important thing is, so when you're creating NAT gateway, so NAT doesn't have any IPs at all. Okay, it is just a small normal like your internet gateway. Okay, so it will not have any IPs. So you have to create one elastic IP and attach to your NAT gateway. Okay, so why? Because in route table, how will you give your right? So it has to if you want to talk to NAT gateway, it has to have some address, right? That's why we create elastic IP and attach to NAT gateway. And NAT will always be put in public subnet. They'll ask you guys, where will you put your NAT gateway? So they'll ask you, so you want to talk, your private instance wants to talk to outside. Why are you putting NAT gateway in public? Why? Why do we have to put in public only? Why can't in private? Think and tell me.
Can you please specify the question answer?
Sorry?
Can you please specify the question 1 second?
Yeah, question is, now we are gonna put NAT gateway in public subnet. Okay, even though my private EC2 instance want to talk to internet, it will talk through NAT gateway. That NAT gateway I'll be putting in public subnet. So why can't I put NAT gateway in private subnet?
Private subnet is not able to access publicly. Also, instead of internet gateway, we can create a NAT gateway in public subnet.
No. Private is not routable. Public is routable. So that's we put it in the public subnet.
So why we are putting NAT gateway in public subnet is because our public subnet will be having an attachment to our internet gateway, which talks to internet. That's why through using this public subnet, NAT will talk to internet. If you put NAT in your private subnet, so your private subnet will have connection to only your private route table. How can NAT talk to your internet? There's
No, not
waste,
possible.
not possible. There's waste of putting NAT here, no?
Yes.
So that's why we will put NAT in public subnet where we have internet connection. Right?
And
Can we
That's
also
make
the private IP is not routable. Only public IP is routable. So that's we can put out.
yeah.
Mhm.
So this private route table, it doesn't have any internet connection. It has only routing to private subnet. All right. So now I'm going to create NAT gateway. If you guys see, it's very simple. I've given the name and I've selected the subnet. So I've given the public subnet. I've given the public, right? So this, if you want, you can use it for private as well. Okay, we just leave it for the public. So here you need to allocate elastic IP. This is a must. Right? It's very simple. See, only in couple of clicks, I've created NAT gateway. That's why AWS is very easy to learn, guys.
elastic
Alright.
IP will be assigned automatically, or we
Yeah,
can give any IP address
it is
that
assigned.
we need?
It is a, so once you click allocate elastic IP, it is assigned automatically. I'll show it to
Okay,
you.
we cannot choose any other IPs.
No, you cannot
NAT?
choose. No,
Okay.
Sir,
just a second. I'll
please
do.
put your battery on charging.
Yeah. Give me a sec.
Is there a way we can choose another IP if we like to have that IP publicly accessible, the NAT IP? We can also do it.
Hello, sorry,
Or
Waqas, I was not listening. I was connecting my charger. Can you please
okay,
repeat?
okay. My question was, is it possible we can choose any other IP that publicly accessible?
For NAT?
Yes, for NAT purposes.
So no, the while creating NAT only, if you see, they are not given that option.
Okay,
So
okay.
so you have to allocate, elastic IP.
Okay.
Alright.
Because I had
So-
one scenario where we are connecting IPsec to the AWS VPC,
Mhm.
and we provided one NAT IP so they can do the NAT on their side.
NAT IPs means this IP only you will give,
Okay, okay.
whatever you get. All right. So why is it not creating? Right. Now it's available. So if you see, this is the NAT IP. This they'll call it as NAT IP. That means your elastic. So where do you get from? Where do you got this this IP? If you see this in elastic IP, you will be having it. See the same IP. All right. So now we have created NAT. We have allocated elastic IP, and now we have put it in public subnet. Now, how will NAT understand that I need to send the private subnet traffic to the internet? How? So first thing NAT understood. Yeah, we need to, yeah, I'll say. So first thing NAT understood that it can talk to internet. So now we need to give connection to the NAT from private subnet. How? Through our private route table. This is very important. So it's very simple. So now what we're going to do, we're going to do the route table, go to route table, select private route table, actions, sorry, click on route table. If you see, our private route table can only talk to your internal VPC. That's it. It doesn't have any other routes. Click on edit routes. Okay, add route. Okay. So this, and then that's it. In the route, we are saying if you want to talk to internet, right? If the internet connection comes, just send it through NAT. All right. So now you guys have placed the proper thing. Now we have put NAT gateway, and you have made a connection through elastic IP, and you have put your NAT gateways thing in private route table. Now the EC2 which is running in private route table, if it wants to send to traffic, it will send to internet, right? So it will go through your private route table, it go through NAT gateway, and then it go to the route table, it will go through internet gateway, it will go outside. Remember, we cannot talk inside. So even though I've created now my VPC has my private EC2 has EC2 as connection to internet, I cannot talk, right? Still, I cannot send traffic to EC2. Only from EC2 you can send out. This is how you put NAT gateway. Okay. Now there's one more scenario. Let's say if you want to, like then you might ask, how do you launch our EC2? How do you make work, right? How to make this thing here? How do you make your resources talk, right? Your public EC2 and private EC2. How do you make? Because that's what you guys already know about it. Will you make use of Bastion host? Okay. So your public EC2 will act as a Bastion host. So you can log into your public EC2, let's say. Okay, so I've already logged in, right? Why is it?
Inbound traffic is not allowed because they are
No, it is there. Console is slow sometimes. Public IP, private, everything. The console is slow. So what I'm trying to say here, guys, is you guys understood all the scenario. Yeah, you guys have made your private resources here. So you have put your resources, all the databases in your private subnet. The first scenario, what is the first scenario? If this private resources, okay, private EC2 wants to talk to internet, we'll make use of NAT gateway. How to create NAT gateway, how to configure, I have shown it. Same way. Now, second scenario, if your public, all right, if your public, your EC2 is there here, your EC2 is here, and it wants to, right, talk. If your public resource and private resource wants to talk to each other. So how will we do it? We'll make use of Bastion host or AWS Session Manager. Okay, so we have some couple of commands running. So if you put those commands in your public EC2, right? Your that commands and you have to give private key of this private EC2, then you can talk to him. You can send traffic. That's it. Very simple. That's what I was trying to show here. Okay, so here we'll be having some commands, right? So SSH -i, and then you have to put your private key dot pem, right? The private KLB.pem, and then you have to give the EC2 user the name at public IP of your Bastion host. Okay, so try this, you will get it in internet. Okay, it's very only couple of steps. If you execute that command, what happens? You can talk to your private EC2 internally.
now you are
Okay, so
accessing
that's
public
it.
subnet
They
license. Yes, sir.
through Bastion host, we are giving private key, So if you see here, private key,
And earlier
you
you have
should have
connected.
private key of this.
No, ma'am. Earlier you have connected
Huh?
that 10.0.1. That is public subnet. Yes, sir.
No, I'm not talking about the subnets here. I'm talking about the resources.
Okay.
Okay, see if you see here, we have public EC2, we have private EC2. Now these public EC2, if they want to talk to private EC2s, okay, there comes a scenario, guys. So in real time, you might get the scenario that it might want to talk to your private EC2. So if you want to talk, then we make use of Bastion host. This EC2 will only act as a Bastion host. We need to give some private key of this EC2, and then you can talk here. Means you can take data, you can launch anything you want, you can talk. So any doubt in this session, guys?
Okay, clear, sir.
No, sir, it's fine.
Okay, so I'm gonna what I'll do, I'm gonna keep a game day, right? So you guys understand when you guys do it on your, so whenever you guys are free, please let me know, right? So what I'll do, I'll ask you to launch a load.
Can't hear you, Adil.
Yes, I'm also.
In because it is very important session in real works is based on this thing only.
Your voice is breaking, actually. Can you repeat the last statement?
So what I'm saying is this is a base, right? Like so this is the base for your AWS architecture. Your VPC, your subnets, okay, internet gateway, route table. So if you know this thing, you can play around with in the real time. They'll follow the same methodology. So whenever the public resources wants to talk to your private resources, they'll use Bastionos. So private resources wants to talk to internet, they'll talk through NAT gateway, right? And if you want to make your database very private, you will put it in public subnet, right? If anyone wants to talk to your private subnet also, can you see the layer, how much layer it is there? They have to go through internet gateway, they have to come through route table, they have to go through NACL, they have to go through, public subnet, and then inside private resource. From there again, they should come out of NACL, they should do the Bastion host connection, and then they can talk here. That's why AWS is very strong when it comes to the security. It follows defense in depth model. Okay. So what can you guys do this VPCs? Just do it. Okay, whatever I've
Yeah.
done now. Create VPC, create subnets, route table, internet gateway. If you guys get doubt, then we can clear. So in this week, I'm gonna arrange a game day because I have one more topic in VPC, that is VPC peering. It is very interesting. So after that, we'll have a game day and then we'll see who will be the winner of it.
What will be in the game day? Just curious.
So AWS game day, what I'll do, I'll give you the architecture. I'll draw it and give. Okay, so I'll be
Okay.
there. You guys should launch it. Okay, same way how I did it now. I'll put architecture like this. You need to create VPC, you need to create internet gateway. Okay, you need to make a VPC peering connection between another VPC. So I'll check whether you have done it properly or not from my laptop. I'll send traffic.
Okay.
So if I'm from my laptop, if I'm able to talk to your EC2, then you have done proper architecture.
Will it be a time frame? Limited time or?
Yeah. So I know how
Okay.
much times to give. So who can finish in that time, they will be the winner.
What will it get?
That you will get to know.
Biryani?
You will get to know. Others,
Okay.
is it clear? So Shivraman, okay, practice it. Leela and all. Darshan, is it clear? Darshan? Gajanan?
Yeah, clear.
हाँ ठीक है तो आप लोग प्रैक्टिस कर लो ओके ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है मैं ज्यादा और आने वाला सेशन इतना रिपीट नहीं करता हूँ only because in interview okay, in real time they'll ask more about this, that's why I'm repeating a lot of times, right? So tomorrow we're gonna have one more important session, that is VPC peering. Okay, it will be having a lot more fun. All right guys, then shall we wind up?
Sure. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Okay, sir,
if you're
thanks.
practicing, please clean up after practicing.
Okay, sure.
Okay, fine. See you tomorrow then.
See you later.
Bye guys, take care. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Bye Leela.